And here we are. So it's 6:01. Darn it. Um, so yeah, I'm like, click the button. I need to see if I can get my computer clock to get the seconds on there so I can get that timing just right. It is a challenge. So, good evening, morning, afternoon, whatever time it was. So I was thinking about how to greet everybody given different time zones. And it occurred to me that good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day can all be used both for hello and goodbye, but are typically used for hello. On the other hand, good night is only ever exclusively used for goodbye. So it's just something that was kind of interesting. Not like super important or anything, but it just, caught my attention. Oh gosh, I forgot to scroll down. There we go. Shh. You didn't see that. So overall, this week's been pretty good. 2 weeks, actually. We've been on fall break this week, so I've been doing things that are a little bit different than I would normally do, and it's been nice. I've got to spend time with friends and family and get out more without feeling quite as pressured. I do tend to overschedule myself. It is what it is. And having lots of things that I like doing and want to do, I think I prefer that as a problem in contrast to not having things that I care about and, not wanting to do anything. That seems like not as good of an option. You might be able to hear it in my voice. I can kind of hear it like through the bridge of my nose and my throat. I'm a little bit froggy. Bleh. So it is what it is. I'm not feeling great. I do dare to try to be on time. Yeah. So there's a bit of congestion, but it's okay. I have over-the-counter medicine. Hooray. And I do have a doctor's appointment coming up. It's just my annual checkup this coming Friday. So hopefully by then I'll be cleared up. If not, she may be willing to, my daughter's on antibiotics. So she may go ahead and do that or not, or she'll say, come in, which kind of would suck because I've already taken a day for the checkup. So having to take another day to go in, that would suck. All right. So Steve, thank you for not saying TikTok. I'm sure you never would. So moving into the Saturday 6. So this past a week ago from tonight in Chattanooga, the Kiev City Ballet performed. And they actually performed Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and we went on Friday. My parents got tickets, and then my husband, my daughter, and I were able to go with them. And it was a really, really good performance. Obviously, they're very, very skilled. And so they had different things that they did. Thursday, the Kiev City Ballet performed just by themselves, and they did Swan Lake. And then I think there was also something different that they did on Saturday. But the night that we went, there were several shorter pieces, not super short. But one of the pieces was about 3 or 4 minutes long. It was a solo. They were all really well done. And then the others were about anywhere from 15 to 40 minutes. So they actually changed the order of things. They had planned to open with a tribute to peace, which is just sort of a series of scenes set in a small town village in the nebulously 1800s of Europe. And so, of course, there are no words, but these characters interact with each other and, go off stage and come on stage in different groups. And you get the sense that they know each other, and you get a little sense of their relationships. And it was a lot of fun. And it seemed to be about celebrating the mundane. and it was really sweet. There was a lot of humor in it and just fun, some romance, and just a sweet, humble story that was told very well. Hey, Scott. I started a weensy bit late anyway, so that's okay. We're all friendly here, and we're all forgiving, right, Steve? Um, so then two of the two, yeah, I think it was just the two Chattanooga City Ballet pieces. Unfortunately, I get them mixed up because they're both more modern, and like they have different they have very different styles to them, but one was Elegiac and the other one was Someday Sometime. And I can sort of see and hear both pieces in my head, but I can't remember which one goes with which title. One of the interesting things about the Chattanooga Ballet is there are 6 dancers and 4 women and 2 men. And in the first one that we saw, they were partnered up 2, 2, and 2, and you could see this because they all wore the same cut costume, but it looked kind of tie-dyed, and the print was a little bit of a different color, but each pair had the same color. And so it was a woman and a man, and a woman and a man, and 2 women. And but then when they would come back on, because they would exit and enter, and sometimes like it would be 2 dancers, sometimes it would be 1 dancer, sometimes it would be 3, sometimes it would be all of them. When they came back on, it wasn't necessarily in the same group, so it went sort of back and forth. And it was lots of fun to watch them. And then the other one that they did, the costuming was different. So they all had like kind of a crop top with, they have long sleeves? And a crop top and then sort of like harem pants kind of. But so they all wore this. And then in the second dance that they did, the men were shirtless and had leotard bottoms. And then they also had like an armlet. And the bottoms matched, but the armlets were in different colors. And they were like these really bold colors. And I didn't notice it at first. The women wore these sort of like practice type dresses. And then like later I noticed that they had something similar on their leg. Like they had a calf wrap, and which matched the colors that the men wore. But there was also a panel on the mid part of the bodice that varied in color between the female dancers as well. And it wasn't exactly that the panel matched the armlet and the leg wrap. Like one dancer's arm wrap would match a male dancer's leg wrap. And then, but her panel would match another female dancer's panel. And so it was just, or her panel would match the color of the leg wrap on the other. So it was interesting to see how the costumes connected with who was dancing with whom in which section. So that was really interesting. I'm pretty sure the music was recorded. Hey people, it's Matt. Thank you for stopping by. And I didn't see that they had a pit. They might have and just like been really sneaky about it. But yeah, it was really interesting. And they gosh, it's hard to describe it. So then the solo was Thoughts, and it was one of the principal dancers from the Keefe City Ballet, and he was shirtless and wore trousers, and I think he was wearing the little foot covers, but I'm not sure. He may have actually been barefoot. And one of the things that I noticed was that when he did his jumps, it wasn't they were like crazy high, but he landed really soft to the extent that like normally, especially when in the opening number, Tribute to Peace, there were places where the female dancers were on point and they were going do, 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 do. But we were close enough to the stage. It's a relatively small symphony hall. And we were close enough to the stage that you can hear, I mean, those toe shoes, those suckers have like, they're really solid in the toe. And so you can hear thump, 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 thump. They're fluttering very gently, and then you hear bump, 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 bump. But like when he landed from these huge leaps, he landed and gave himself enough, flexion that it wasn't like bump, bump. It sounded very light as well, and that was really interesting. And he wore pants that weren't like really heavy cargo pants, but were kind of styled that way. And the lighting was really sharp, very, very much sort of spotlight and not a lot of front light. So it very much emphasized like the contours of his body, as well as the sharp turns that he made would change the lighting on his form. So it was just really interesting, and definitely a contrast to the first piece, which was Tribute to Peace, the more pastoral scene. And then so it was Tribute to Peace, and then we had an intermission that was a little bit longer, and then it was one from the Chattanooga Ballet, and then it was Thoughts, and then it was the other one from the Chattanooga Ballet, and and then we finished up. Well, they finished up with Men of Kiev, which all the male dancers from the company, from the Kiev City Ballet, performed, and they all wore black tights and either yellow or blue, like kind of short sleeve, almost like t-shirts, but obviously not actually t-shirts. And they did a series of not dances exactly, but more styled dances based on folk dances from that culture. And it was really interesting to see. Of course, they're all very athletic. So if you're familiar with, sort of what you think of as Russian dancing, the high kicks and the jump kicks, that was in there as well. But what was really interesting was the way that it was balletified, because it wasn't just the openness of folk dancing. It was also, it had the precision of ballet, and they were just really good. So they had, in addition to the low, sort of almost seated squat kicks, there was that one. There's also the up and, kick the hands like you'll see in cheerleaders do, but just like one after another, bang, 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 and like toes all the way out, full split, full extension, and just like amazingly athletic. It wasn't really long, which I really wasn't surprised at, because holy smokes, they were just going out. Very much, yeah, that sort of thing, Radical Bacon. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and they had originally planned to start out with that one, and then and Tribute to Peace was going to be at the end. But I'm really glad that they ended with Men of Kiev. I think that was a good choice, because Tribute to Peace is sweet and fun, but it's very pastoral, whereas Men of Kiev is very much up tempo, and it's also fun in a different way, and it's just a great close to the evening. It sort of left you feeling not just hopeful, but energized about that hope, if that makes sense. If not, just complain about it in the comments. All right, so moving on. So that was a lovely evening. I did want to address, and I thought about not including this, whether I wanted to or not. Of course, Biden offering pardons to anyone who had for the federal charge of possession of marijuana. And in and of itself, it really doesn't accomplish a whole lot. Hey, Robert. And so I'm not including it for that. I've seen on social media saying, it's not like anybody's getting out of prison for this. And that's not why I'm including it. And I think this is sort of, it's indicative of Democratic politics, and Biden in particular. He's not, for those of us who are significantly left of center, he's not as progressive as we'd like. And it's not so much that he is making these changes happen, but that it's more like, it's more of a barometer. Not that it is change, but it's evidence that, an acknowledgement that change has occurred. And not only that, but that they think this is the way that the wind is blowing. And that's what's encouraging. That that we have seen attitudes toward marijuana have changed enough that, we need to do something to acknowledge that, but also that this isn't where it ends. And I think that's some of the critiques from the left to Biden, is that, he's not doing the things that we want him to do. He's making these little bitty baby steps. But with Biden, and as a politician with a long career in which a lot of change has taken place over those decades, a lot of this is about moving forward in a way that will continue to move and to build momentum, hopefully. And I'm very, I don't want to just say sympathetic. I understand the want to push for more. But at the same time, I definitely think that part of the reason we ended up with Trump was that it was a reaction from conservative voters to, what they saw as significant change from the Obama administration. And again, I want to emphasize what they saw as significant change. Not that, there were many ways in which the Obama administration was not particularly progressive, especially in his foreign policy and his military policies. But the perception of him as this, radical, young, energetic first Black president, the perception was that, everything's changing. We want to go back to the way that it was. I think that's what led to Trump. And that caused a lot of problems. And so it's going to continue to be about, you want to push hard enough to get that momentum, to be able to continue pushing and to continue changing. But if you push too much, you're going to get more resistance rather than less. So figuring out how to build momentum while getting other people to come along rather than push back at you, it's challenging. And I'm hoping that this will, continue throughout the rest of Biden's term, and we'll see continued movement in this direction. Not just in this front, but in other forms of progress as well. So it gives me tentative reason to hope. And I think that's positive. So that's why it's on my list. All right, so number 3, I'm done with CrossFit. Excuse me. So one of the things I did this week was through the YMCA, I'm allowed to have 1 week trial of CrossFit. And, some people are like, they are just so they're CrossFitters. And I'm just like, it's exercise, right? So I still haven't really figured out why some people get just so gone on it, but I can see what it provides that is different from other exercise programs. Radical Bacon, somewhat, although not as much as the gunk in my chest and my throat and my sinuses. Ugh, yeah, not fun. So I'm not going to continue for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's $60 a month on top of the Y membership. So it's just no, I don't like it that much. But also, they'll go through a number of different exercises. You have a warm up, which is cycling through often 3 different exercises, sometimes multiple rounds through that. And then you have your prep, which is another set of 3 to 4 exercises that you cycle through. And then you have your exercise, your main section. And then quite often there's a little extra thing. And they have all of this on a whiteboard. And the thing is, maybe it would get easier with time, once I'm more familiar with the exercises, but at the same time, there are still going to be new people coming in. So the instructor has to go over, here's how to do this exercise, here's how to do that exercise. And the downtime is kind of nice because it's a challenging workout. But at the same time, it's just a lot to keep track of. And then especially if you're doing a lot of reps, like today was jump rope. Was one of the things. And they're like, okay, so you can do 100 double unders or 200 single unders. And I'm just like, I cannot count that high. I can't do it. And I realized that I really like the support of in like bar and body pump and RPM, how it's the workout, each section of the workout is choreographed sort of to a different song. And so essentially, when the song ends, you're going to be doing something different. And you move with the beat of the song. So like when the bass swells, you're going to start pedaling harder, or your lifts are going to be in time to the beat, or maybe 2 for 1. And that really helps me a lot more than this many reps or because then I'm like, okay, I'm doing the set 3 times, but I'm doing 7 lifts on this one and 15 on this one, and oh gosh, it's just a lot to keep track of. That was hard for me. And it wasn't like I was learning how to do a different thing. I did learn, it's interesting to make your body move in a different way. I did learn some new like exercise technique type stuff. So that was pretty cool. Figuring out how to get your body to, okay, this is how you do this thing. That I like learning, but just trying to keep track of how many sets I'm doing, how many reps I'm doing per set, how many rotations I'm doing through each. I was just like, this is not for me. But I know that that's one of the things that they kind of promote in it. So like, I think that I think this is one of the few exercise programs that has that much of variety. And of course, they do a different workout of the day every day. And there are some people that helps because it's less repetitive and it's, less boring for them. And it keeps them involved and it keeps them motivated. So that's great. It's just not great for me. Empire Jeff, yes. I missed how that's connected. Anyway, so yeah, I'm done with CrossFit, and next week I'll be going back to my typical exercise schedule. So it was a learning opportunity. Still not really sure why some people are just like as dedicated as they are to it, but I guess maybe that's just the case with any type of exercise. Like there's some people who just like, they are runners, or they're like, seriously onto, they're century bikers. Like they go for 100-mile bike rides. Anyway, so also news. So you may remember from 2014-ish, the Ice Bucket Challenge for ALS. Brain no brainy. Can't think of what that stands for off the top of my head right now. But a lot of the time, I've made videos before. I've made a video about specifically Pinktober and the need for programs that are about awareness, but also the limits there as well. Okay, thanks, Steve. I was like, is that connected to something I said? So awareness is important, but it really it doesn't actually do anything. But it was nice to see an article. I was like, okay, so if you were also, in addition to doing the Ice Bucket Challenge, or if you wanted to pass on it instead of doing the Ice Bucket Challenge, you were also supposed to, I can remember the sclerosis. Man, I couldn't remember. No wonder I couldn't remember that. Holy smokes. So in addition to doing that, you were also supposed to donate money to a foundation. And the money that was that this raised, it raised millions of dollars. The money was used for research, and as it happens, they were able to develop a new drug, and it has recently gotten FDA approval. Thank you for that information, Steve. Man, you're just some random geeking it out with the info that today. So yes, aka Lou Gehrig's disease. So the new drug unfortunately does not cure it, but it does reduce the development of symptoms, and it slows down the progression of the disease. And that's the sort of progress that we're seeing in a lot of, ongoing degenerative diseases. That, it's very difficult, or it may end up even being impossible to cure them. But like with HIV, with enough progress in medicine and treatment, we can effectively, slow them down to the point that you're not getting worse from that disease than you are just from like aging and just, your body deteriorating in general. And so it's nice to see that, as, prolific as that was on social media, it wasn't just about showmanship. It actually accomplished something meaningful, not just in awareness, and that does help, but also in developing something that can help people live longer, healthier, more comfortable lives. And that's terrific. Dun, dun, dun. So this happened in Ohio. The State Education Association, the state school board, was considering an anti-trans bill, which, among other things, would have restricted access to sports and to bathrooms in schools for students. And trans activists went to the meeting where they were going to vote on the bill and spoke out against it and gave personal statements about their personal experiences. And it wasn't that they voted on it and voted it down, but not committee. That's what they did with it. The board put the bill into executive committee, and it's kind of hoped that it'll just stay there. But it shows the importance of not just speaking out like on social media and things. I mean, that's not nothing, obviously. Share your views, but beyond social media, share your views in your community. And when you have the opportunity, go to meetings like this. Like, your presence really makes a difference. So that was why I chose this. Obviously, the news itself is great. But yeah, Scott, exactly. And also because, I'm a teacher and this is a school thing. So I'm interested in seeing how this continues to develop. Obviously, we don't have, like with the Biden thing, with the marijuana, it's not that we have a definitive, everything's over, everything's taken care of, but continuing to push in a way that moves us closer to our goals, on and on and on and on. Maybe not even in our lifetimes, but doing this and helping other people do this so that the process continues forever. Because even once we reach our goals, we still need to keep moving. Change is inevitable. It happens. And if you don't make progress, you're going to regress. So looking at what we still need to do and continuing to move forward and using that momentum is going to be incredibly important. Dun, dun, dun. And here we are at, whoa. I guess I did a lot of describing for the ballet because I was like, I was looking at the clock on my computer, and I was thinking, oh golly, I'm going to go way past. But and then some of the others I didn't have as much personal experience with, so I didn't have as much description. So this is actually a two-parter. Hang on. So this, like some of the others that are not just about my personal experience, except I do think I saved an article about the Chattanooga and Keefe City Ballet. So they'll have descriptions they'll have links. Oh boy. They'll have links down in the description once the live stream's over. By the way, we're on number 6. So be thinking about what you're going to say in the live chat about things that have been going well for you. So, something that crossed my Twitter feed, which I will provide a link to, was a story about someone who went out with a friend. They were going out to lunch, and his friend, as they were walking downtown, noticed a shutoff warning for some utility hanging from somebody's doorknob. And this friend went up and took the notice. And so I'm reading this Twitter thread, and I'm going, man, that's a jerk move. Because, because we've had that happen. Like, we've had the water company. Man, if you are more than a few days late in your payment, not only do you get the late fee, but they will turn your water off real fast. And sometimes, we forget. I'm not the most remembery person in the entire world. Tis what tis. But yeah, if you're not on top of it, and there's a reminder and you miss it, then you're just screwed. So and then they sat down to lunch, and his friend called up the number that's on the notice and paid the bill. Just pay the bill. Don't know who this person is, who this resident is, but just pay the bill just because they could. And this is it was interesting because some random geek's question on Steve's Ask Away last night was about our responsibility to help people that we know versus the fact that essentially privileges people who know the right people, who know somebody who can afford to help them, but also the challenge of working with organizations is that there's often a list, or you have to fill out a form, and that can, if somebody doesn't have, if the form's online and somebody doesn't have, a home with internet, then how are they going to fill out that form? So it becomes, there are hoops that they have to jump through. And what was interesting about this was this sort of went around that. And what the person who posted this to Twitter said was, you can do this even if you don't have to find somebody's notice with the number. Here is how to find out what the utilities are in your area and what you can do to find out how you can, who's going to get their stuff shut off, whether it's water and sewer or electric or internet or, any sort of public, not even public, I guess, utilities. You can say, hey, I can donate this much. So, this is how to help if you have money and you want to help more directly than even something like Give Directly, which also I have linked down in the description. You can help somebody out just by calling the utility company and giving them your credit card information or your debit card information. You can pay somebody's bill. You don't have to be connected to that person. So again, that information will be linked down in the description. And then the other thing is, ain't everybody always got that kind of money, or enough money that will help, or for whatever reason that's, you are not comfortable donating financially. That's okay. There are other ways you can help. Another article that I found talked about, it was a study done in the UK that said that people wanted to compliment strangers, but were afraid of how it'd be taken. And so I wanted to give just a short lesson on how to do that. Because as a female presenting person, I am aware at least of the perception that somebody who compliments you is expecting something. And I have gotten past that. Just I will just say thank you and move on. I don't, if you're expecting something from me, that's on you, Yeah, Scott, exactly. Going to some of these organizations and donating your time is another great way to be involved. And it allows you to connect with other people who share these values. So good on you. So if you want to compliment somebody, one of the things that you can do is think about the choices. And this is something that I think is involved in most teacher programs. You don't compliment the person, you compliment either the behavior or the results. So with a student, we definitely want to try to get away from saying, oh, you're so smart, because that is a label and an identifier. So instead, we think about what evidence we saw or heard. Exactly, Scott. Choices and actions, not the person. Especially with kids, because they start thinking, well, why do you thinks I'm smart, and that's good. And that becomes an identifier for them. And then if they're not the smart kid, then who are they? And their worth becomes attached to that. Not real keen. So instead, I might say, that was a really creative answer. I hadn't thought of that. Where did you get that idea? So 2 parts there. First of all, I complimented the action or the result. And Steve, this is where, I poke you, or maybe smack you across the face, something like that. So start with, complimenting the action. That was a really creative answer, but then also following up and allowing them to elaborate, that it's not just a once and done thing. So it takes a little bit of time. And the same thing for a stranger on the street. So this is why I wore purple, because purple is the best color. Because if I'm going to compliment somebody, typically I'm going to compliment what they choose to wear, because that's a choice. If I just say, oh, you're so pretty, then it's just like, congratulations on your bone structure. It's not actually complimenting them. It's, I guess, complimenting their parents for getting together. IDK. But the same sort of thing. So a really easy one for me is, I love that outfit. You make it look great. So I'm complimenting their style, but also, the way that they wear it. So their choice of attire and also the way that they wear it. And so, yeah, if somebody's wearing purple, that's an easy one for me. I'm like, I love that. In fact, I think I did this morning. I love that sweater. Purple is the best color. And, they're like, I know, isn't it? We bond. I bond with people over purple all the time. Like, there are so many. I don't think there's a single shade of purple that I don't like. They're just like, there's this one, and the one that is you can't, because it's behind this purple, and then there's so many different shades, and then there's like purpley brown, and there's purpley pink, and then there's purpley blue. It's so nice. And then this is just sort of a lighter purple, but it's kind of not faded exactly, but muted. Love it. Yeah, it's because you're complimenting their choices. It's not. I mean, it can be used to flirt, I guess. I mean, because really the objective of a line, what's it called? A pickup line, is to engage the other person in conversation, to start a connection. And so, hi, you're hot. It's, I guess it's an opening. It's not nothing, but yeah, it definitely comes across as A, trying too hard, B, kind of creepy. So think about something nice that you could say about this person, other than, something that they're born with, something that they chose, and follow up with an observation. So again, the first example was, that was a really creative answer. Can you tell me more about how you came up with that? Or the second example, which was more appearance focused, I love that sweater. You make it look great. So it's not just that the sweater was great. Your choice of the sweater was also great, and the way you wear it is also great. Yes, or Scott, you make that shirt. That shirt is awesome, and you make it even more so. I am tall, and I enjoy being tall. Thanks, I guess. So Woo, gracious. So I think is that everything? It might be. Might have had. Yes, so that was my two-parter there. Now, Steve showed me how to do this. There was something else that crossed my Twitter feed, and I was like, yes, I've seen this before, but today's Saturday 6th, and this will be a great closer. It's something that I wanted to share with you, and hopefully this will work. If I'll be able to see on here, I'll be able to see on here if the video is working. I'm going to show a little video up here. I'm going to switch out. And if the sound isn't coming through, let me know in the chat. And I'll let it play anyhow, because it does have subtitles. Kane, that's not as effective as it might have been previously. I think too many people know about that. It's just like, yeah, Steve, great. Hey, Kemp, glad you made it. All right, so hopefully this will work. I'm breathing. All right, I hope it works. Here we go.
You just take, along with me, 10 seconds to think of the people who have helped you become who you are. Those who have cared about you and wanted what was best for you in life. 10 seconds of silence. I'll watch the time. Whomever you've been thinking about, how pleased they must be to know the difference you feel they've made.
Kane, okay. So that was my first time trying that out. And I'm glad it worked. Didn't work quite the way I wanted it to, because it was supposed to just replace this panel with the picture. But when I went in, the video, sometimes when I open up OBS, the video capture device is like, no. And I have to like delete it and put it back in for my source. At any rate, yes, Kemp Chalmers, that was Mr. Rogers. And as a teacher, as a parent, and I talk about this a fair amount, we have the opportunity to attempt to make a difference. So I hope you actually did take a few moments to think about the people who have helped you become who you are, the people who have supported you. But I also want to encourage you to think about the way that a lot or a little, you can be that person for somebody else. We all have that opportunity. Not all of us can be a parent. Not all of us can be a teacher. Certainly not all of us can be a Mr. Rogers. But even in the little interactions that we have with people from day to day, we can strive to make a positive difference. And I would encourage you to try to do that. Try to be a positive influence, even just a little bit, on the people you come into contact with. And I think that's where I'm going to close up my part of the show. So in the chat, I'll take just a few minutes here. We're at 6:45. I'll take just a few minutes. Share some of the things that have been going on in your life that have warmed your heart and made you smile. Steve, the Flexit method sucks. Just saying. Y'all, nothing good? Come on. Aw, thank you, Scott. Besides, we need to finish up. I'm almost out of tea. Well, Kane, work on being not mean. Work on being kind to yourself. You know, your current self and the future you. Oh, Renegin, awesome. Yeah, you can go to most social media and just look for like a teacher wish list hashtag, and there you go. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, Scott, the pros and cons there. It's hard because you can do everything right and still fail. Um, Steve, help me out. There's a Picard line there someplace. Chalmers, I don't know about the state fair. There was some kind of car show up in Chattanooga this morning. And I think I saw that there's one over in, I think, northeast Georgia, but not right around here. It is. Keep fighting the good fight, Kane. Yes. Yes. I got a bunch. Actually, I'll go ahead and show. Let's see. So I shot a video. Yes, I got some things. Yes. And I shot a video for it, but I am still, it is in process. So yes, if that was you, thank you so much. So yeah, I reflect pretty regularly on, I talk about the public nature of public schools, but I really, really like how teacher wish lists let us expand input beyond just our immediate community and like the state legislature and the lawmakers and stuff like that, and let us say, hey, here's what I want to do with my class. And I think in the video I just made, I talked about this. It is so awesome in a different way when like you get a note from a student that says, when we did this, I could tell that my skills improved because, I used to do this, now I do that. Thank you so much for helping me build my skills. That's awesome. But like with a wish list or a Donors Choose project, it's something that you haven't even done yet. And to have somebody believe in you so much that they're going to say, yes, I want you to do this. That's really cool. That is like a leap of faith on your behalf. It's super cool. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, they did. So, and I go over some of that in the video too. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I think the wish lists, they give me a little. No, not on that one. But they give you like, because there's a big old list. Yeah, they give you a URL on the little paper that comes with it, and you can go in there. And so what I'm gonna, once the video goes live, so once the video goes live, I'll send in. I'm hanging on to these, and I'll send a note in there that says check my channel, because I noticed with the previous one that it won't let me put a link in, or at least it wouldn't. I don't know if that changes or what. Yeah, there's all kinds. Donors Choose is another site where teachers put like projects and things that maybe aren't available on Amazon. You can also do, like, I did a special purchase order that had a group of actors from the Atlanta Shakespeare Tavern come and do a workshop the one semester when I had seniors. They did a workshop on Macbeth. And yeah, I was able to get a grant through Donors Choose for that. It was pretty awesome. There we are. I knew. Thanks, Steve, for coming through. It is possible to make no mistakes and still lose. That is not a weakness. That is life. And Beyonce says something similar. I'll see if I can find a clip for that and put it in the description as well. That you can do everything right and still fail, and sometimes that's just how it is. You know, we talk, you know, that it's not fair that some people, you know, get advantages, and people who are successful often focus on how hard they worked to get there. And that's always true. Like, it's really rare to be successful and not have worked hard. But hard work is no guarantee of success. Hard work and skill is no guarantee of success. It takes hard work and skill and opportunity. And not everybody gets the same opportunities. And that's just how it is. Sometimes things don't work out. Steve, I'm not sure I agree with that. I mean, there are some similarities, but also some differences. I don't know that I don't know that Captain Picard is as physically agile as Beyonce. I don't know. Then again, I'm not a real Trek fan, so it is what it is. All right, I am going to skedoodle. If you think of other things that have gone well that you haven't told me about, please tell me in the comments. Or if there are other things that you'd like me to take a look at, other good news that you've heard about that I didn't include here, yeah, you know what to do. Leave a comment. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, however long it is, and I hope to see you again in 2 weeks. Oh, one other thing. There will be another live stream next Saturday. It will not be the Saturday 6th, but I get to have a guest interview. This will be my first time doing it on my channel, so I beg forgiveness in advance for any technical difficulties. It will be a new experience for me. Whew. So I'm going to have a fellow hey, there you go, camera. I'm going to have a fellow educator. We're going to be discussing the book Finding Your Blind Spots, Hedrick Nichols, and we're Twitter buds, and we've talked for some time, and we have some of the same ideas. I'm really excited to have her on this channel. So hopefully I'll be talking about that more throughout the next week. And yeah, I guess that's all. Thanks so much for showing up, and I hope you, again, have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, everybody.